Let's finish the question in this video. That's where we stopped in the previous video, that the derivative of the welfare function with respect to y must be equal to 0, meaning we have to differentiate every term with respect to y. Now what we can notice here is that we have a certain expression under the square root, meaning we will have to use the chain rule of derivatives. So that's how it's going to look like. From the first term, we will have the derivative equal to 1 divided by the 2 multiplied with the square root of this expression, 2000 minus y, but then we also must multiply with the derivative of the expression, right? So 2000 minus y derivative with respect to y, and we do the same for the second term, plus the derivative of this term. Well, that's again 1 over 2 square root of 0.9 times y multiplied with the derivative of the expression under the square root, so 0.9 y derivative with respect to y. This must equal to 0, so this must equal to 0. And by the way, where do we get this 1 over 2 times the square root? Well, that's just this, it's starting from the simple property of derivatives, that the derivative of square root of x is equal to 1 divided by 2 square root of x, and then because of the chain rule, we also multiply with the derivative of the expression itself. Hope this makes sense. Now with that said, we just keep solving. Let's see how this will look like. We will have the following. We will have 1 divided by 2 times square root of 2000 minus y multiplied with, what is the derivative over here? Well, 2000 minus y derivative, we're left only with minus 1, right? The constant over here. That's going to be minus 1, and then we go to the next term, and we do the same. Plus 1 over 2 times square root of 0.9 y, and over here, what is the derivative of 0.9 times y? Well, that's just going to be the constant. So we will have times 0.9, and that's equal to 0. So that's going to be equal to 0. Let me change colors for that. Just a second. Yes, equals to 0. Now what can we do here? We have a negative term, right? And here we have a positive term. Let's take this term on the other side. Because we can do so since this is an equation. And let's see what we will have. We will have the following. We will have 1 divided by actually with minus it's going to be negative, right? So negative a half, negative 1 over 2 divided by square root of 2000 minus y equals to, and over here we do minus 0.9, so minus 0.9 divided by 2 times square root of 0.9 times y. Now with that said, we can do a cross multiplication over here. We can do a cross multiplication, and we will have the following. We will have minus 1 times 2, so that's going to be minus 2 multiplied with square root of 0.9 times y, square root of 0.9 times y equals 2, and we do the same on the other side. We multiply minus 0.9 with 2 times square root of all this expression. So we will have minus 2 times 0.9 times the square root of 2000 minus y. Now why did we do so? Because we can cancel out something. Minus 2 and minus 2 cancels out, and we're left with the following. We're left with square root of 0.9 times y equal to 0.9 multiplied with the square root of 2000 minus y. Now with that said, what can we do? We can take both sides to the power of 2 to cancel out these square roots. So that's what we're going to do. We take this one to the power of 2, and we take the right side to the power of 2 as well. The square root to the power of 2 cancels out, so 0.9 times y is equal to 0.9 to the power of 2. Well, that's just going to be 0.81. Let me change colors for that. That's going to be 0.81 multiplied with 2000 minus y, right? Because the square root cancels out. 2000 minus y. Now 0.9 and 0.81 also cancels out. So what we're left with is 0.9 over here, meaning that y is equal to 0.9 times 2000 minus y. I don't know why I'm writing in a diagonal, by the way, but anyway, I'll keep it that way for the sake of the design. Okay, let's open the brackets over here. Let's open the brackets to see what we get. We will have y equals to 0.9 times 2000. Well, that's just going to be equal to 1800. So we have here 1800 minus 0.9 times y. Now we can take the y's on one side only. If we take this one to the left side, we are left with y plus 0.9, that's 1.9 times y equal to 1800, meaning that y, which is the money that is being distributed, is gonna be equal to 947 euros. This is how much money is taken away from Dunya, but 10% is going through the paperwork of redistributing that income, and only 90% is going to Nikki. So 0.9 times 947 is gonna be equal to 853. This is how much money Nikki actually gets. This is how much money Nikki actually gets, and that's it. This is the answer. Hope this all makes sense, and we are done.